Well, hello there, friends. So today we're doing something even a little bit more different. Look at this jet ski seat. We're doing jet ski seats. So I'll actually have a pair of these to do because he has two jet skis. So instead of making one pattern and duplicating one, we're going to be doing two at a time. So I'm going to show you how to mass produce with patterns seat covers. So here we go. So what's the first thing we always do? We take our China marker and we mark the intersection. So everywhere there's an intersection, like right here, we do them all. What this does is it helps us put it back together again in the same place. So in areas like this where there's white wouldn't show up, right? So I just go ahead and take my other Sharpie and I do the white one. So really, I guess there's only one there. All right. Oh, I guess there's one right here. One right there. I think it used to be one there. So now for technique number 71 is speedy disassembly. Okay, if you don't want to spend a whole bunch of time taking something apart, what you do is you use a razor blade, right? So you can go ahead and just cut out your patterns, just like that. Can't get much speedier than that, right? So what I do is I just take everything apart along that seam, just like that. We'll go ahead and continue. Just do the whole thing. Now for technique number 81. Technique number 81 is quick removal of staples. So what I usually do is I just cut right on the edge like this, all the way around. So usually what I do is I'll remove the first few staples, like you probably normally would do. once you can get underneath there, oh, this one's glued down. Once you're underneath there, usually what you can do, I guess I'll start right here. Let's see if this cooperates because it's glued down. They have this glue on there. Let's see if my idea here works. Let's say it didn't have the glue. If you didn't have the glue, what you do is just take this like this and you roll it. And you roll it. There's two staples right there. And if you roll it, you can, and if you're lucky, you can continue to roll it. I don't know if this technique is going to work on this one. Hey, you know, you can't win them all, right? You know, I didn't edit this out because this is real world. I could have edited it out and you guys never would have been the wiser, right? But this is what you could be faced with. Yeah, look at that. It ain't going to work. If it didn't have that glue, I think it probably would have. So, I might just end up taking all the staples out by hand. Do it the old-fashioned way. Yeah, it's got this adhesive on the back. The staples are even sticking to the dikes here. Look at that. Yep, that's not going to work. Okay. Oh. Feel the burn. Feel the burn. A couple hundred staples later. And that's what's going on with my hand. Now I know some of you out there are screaming and yelling because I used the razor blade. Everybody say, well, what about the seam allowance when you're making the new pattern? What's going to happen now? Well, I always add in that extra 3/8 inch on either side of the cut to make up for the seam allowance when I make my new patterns. So now for technique number 422. So what I do is, you can see here, when I took the patterns, when I cut them out, I left everything connected. You see that? Everything's connected. So imagine yourself with a jigsaw puzzle where you got to take the time to put that puzzle together. So you're sitting there, does this piece fit here? Does that piece fit there? Oh, it doesn't fit there, so I got to try another piece. So anyway, I solved that problem, right? When I leave all the parts connected like this, there's no guessing. You know exactly where everything went that before. That way you can duplicate it. Remember to gather up all your staples. Make sure that they all landed in a good place. That way, they'll be easier to pick up because you want to collect them all and put them in the trash. Whatever you do, don't put these on the floor. If you put these on the floor, not only is it dangerous, but it's harder to pick them up off the floor. See, when they're on the table like this, so much easier just to pick it up. So these are the vinyls that I'm using today. I'm using Reflex Hail, and the other one is Carbon Fiber Black. So there you go. Funny how it says Auto Marine Vinyl, huh? Which one is it? Why, that's a mystery there. Be sure to check out my video where I say that that marine vinyl is a scam. And I just showed you. It's funny on the label right there. It says Auto Marine. So is it either marine or is it auto? Huh? That is controversy. A couple very important things to note is that this carbon fiber vinyl here is directional, as well as the white vinyl here. See if I can pick it up there, but what the white is it simulates brushed aluminum. You see the lines right there? They're going one direction. So if this was just regular vinyl, I'm not worried about that, because regular grain vinyls, what they do is you can put them any direction and it doesn't matter. But if you put this here in different directions, you're going to see it. So every time we make a pattern, we have to take that into consideration, that this is directional material, because we want all those lines in the vinyl to go the same direction, as well as the angles in the direction of this carbon fiber. Because if you put one pattern like this, and then the pattern next to it is a different angle like that, then the next pattern you cut is a different angle like that, it's going to look terrible. And you don't want anybody to see you do that kind of work. Okay, so don't do it. So this right here is an excellent example of seam allowance. You see where it was stitched right there? And you have this extra, how would you say, like a margin, overlap, edge, or seam allowance. So anyway, that's what I'm going to be putting back in to all the raw cut sides, just like this. I'll just add that 3/8 back in to all the patterns. So I decided that I'm going to really go up the roll here, and that's going to be my direction. So this is going to be the back here of the seat, and that up there is going to be the front of the seat. So all the patterns that I make are going to go along that direction. So to maximize yield and to avoid waste, what I do is I start with my largest pieces first, and then I work my way down to my smaller pieces. So what I do now is start drawing it out. This is where the artist in you comes in, to add in that extra 3/8 of an inch. Right there, just like that. Put our marks in there, add the 3/8. Okay, remember it's not rocket science. Okay, so it doesn't have to be exactly. It could be, there's going to be a little bit of a tolerance there. A forgiveness, let's say. Nobody's going to get angry with you. It's still going to look great. So that's our first piece right there. But remember, we're making two. We have 2 seats to make. So I'm just going to move this up a little bit further higher, like that, and make the second one. My lines might not be perfectly straight, but when I'm cutting it, they'll be real straight. Just like that. Now we got 2 patterns. So now for technique number 68. Okay, you thought I was going to say 69, didn't you? What are you, 3rd grade or something? Anyway, what you do is you fold it in half like that. And you can double check to see if you have symmetry. Because you want the left to look exactly like the right. So this is a good way for you to check. Remember I free-handed it the last time? Okay, now look what happens. Well, there is a difference. Look at that. Yeah. A little bit of a difference, but you know what? We're pretty darn close. I'm going to compromise here just a little bit. Look at that. Then you can even take it one step better. You can fold it in half again the other way and check it. But you know what? That's pretty darn close. I'm seeing just a little bit of black right here on this edge, which really wouldn't matter. But I know there's some people out there that tear me up in the comments. And so, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and do this for you guys. Okay. Now you can't tear me up in the comments. So what I do is when I finish making a pattern, I take that part and I put a big X on it. This here, it avoids making the duplicate pattern a second time, which I've done. And I kick myself. I'm like, well, I already have one of those. So to avoid all that, what I do is I put an X. I know it's already been done. Because when you're dealing with all of this here, you want to know that when you're done, every single one of these parts has an X on it because you've already made the part. Tell me in the comments if you like that idea. Oh, and I almost forgot. Don't forget to like this video, because if you like this video, then YouTube will help show my video to more people so that way they can like it. What are you doing, Nibbles? You want to take a shower? Is that what you want? You want to take a shower? Is that what you want? You want to take a shower? Yeah? Well, I have a lot of patterns to make and duplicates because I got to make 2 of every one. So here we go. I'm going to add in my 3/8 just like I always do. In this case, for the straight lines, what I do is I'll put one line on the end here, one line on the end there. And then that way I will do then is take my straight edge and connect the lines instead of connect the dots or connecting the lines. So this is a center pattern. This goes right down the middle of the seat. So usually what I'll do is I'll mark center. So marking center. This is technique number 28. It's so low in the numbers because it's one of the most important things that you're going to use. So what you do is I just fold it in half right like that. Mark the center. That way we know exactly where center is. You see that right there? So on the back side, what I'll also do is I will take the Sharpie like that, mark the back side. That way I have it marked on both sides. So that's the front side right there, and this is the back side. That's our center. No guessing, right? I think I finished with all the black parts, so I'm looking them over and I see that everyone has been marked that I've already made. That's how that way it's not confusing. Because sometimes with my half brain, I'm not exactly sure. I don't want to make duplicates like I said before. So I mark them and it looks to me like I got them all. I got all the black ones. So now let's go ahead and move on to the white panels. Now this is going to get a little tricky because I'm using the white China marker on white vinyl. So I would advise against using any other color because if you use yellow, black, or red, it'll definitely stain this vinyl. What I have done in the past, but this is for advanced class, okay? What I do is I'll take a black Sharpie ink pen like this, and you guys are probably thinking I'm crazy, but I mark out all my patterns with this stuff on white vinyl. But you know what? That's for the advanced class. Okay, so we're going to just do it with a China marker. So it's not as easy to see, but as long as you have fairly good vision, I think that you'd be able to see it. Go ahead and mark it out. Take it a closer look. You can see that you can see the mark, but it's white against white. But we can see it. Just remember, we can't forget that we have to go with that grain of the vinyl. So the grain is going down the roll, so that's why I put it this way. I don't put it this way or this way because then the grain is going to change and it'll look goofy. And then if somebody notices in the future, they're going to be thinking about what you did. So don't do that. So we're just going to stay consistent. We're going to keep going the same direction. Front to rear. Okay, I know some of you were saying to yourselves, gosh, I wish he'd show us how to do that black Sharpie one version. Okay, so here we go. Just because you asked. And voila. There we go. So that's this one here. So we're going to mark this one as finished. How did you like that? Put that in the comments. So this one here is always tricky because it's always split right there. Like you saw in the picture at the video at the very beginning, before I took the seat apart, that's where it always splits. So this is my technique number 8,434. one. But this is when I make this piece here, I always make it a little bit longer. So that way there's extra material in this area here. What that does is it buys the customer an extra 2 or 3 years of shrinkage because they always split here because of the shrinkage and they fit them too tight. Somebody puts their knee on top of the seat and this thing splits. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. I'm going to add extra material there. Yeah, some of you might have caught that. I got myself on my hand here. Imagine if I would have got that on the vinyl. That could have been a tragedy. That's what I'm saying. This is for advanced class. Yeah, I think I can get this piece from right here. Nope, that one didn't make it. Where else can I get this one? I guess I get another second one of these here. I have the smaller version back seat here that I also have to do. So I'm going to be doing the same exact thing to that one. Wow, talk about confusing. Okay, all of this is all the new panels right here that I just cut out. This is for one seat. So I have another set of these laying on the floor behind me for the second seat. That came from this. This here is the old patterns right here. So there's a lot going on there too, right? Not only that, but I have the back seat. You haven't seen this one yet. So it's basically the same thing, just a smaller version of the big one. So I have all these pieces everywhere. Not only that, but on the floor I have another second set for another second back seat. So in all I have 4. I have 2 on the floor, 2 on the table. Whew. See if I can keep all that straight. Okay, let's try to figure out this jigsaw puzzle. So this is the reason I don't take all the panels apart. They're all connected to each other. So that gives me a real huge head start on how to put this thing back together again. So I can see here, usually we start from the center and then work our way out. So I can see here that these three pieces right here are connected. So I'm probably going to start there. Connect these three. And then I'll connect this one to the three. Then I'll connect this one to this one. Then I'll sew these three here together. And then take those three, sew it to here. After that, I'm going to be sewing on these lower side pieces. And then after that, it's just everything that goes on the edges. Okay, I'm going to go for it. Here we go. Okay, I got my three pieces right here. So let's go ahead and start off by sewing these three pieces together. So do you see what happened after I added back in that 3/8 inch that we cut off when we were cutting everything with a razor blade? See that? No problem, right? Okay, let's just keep going here. Okay, then the black gets a top stitch. Okay, so I've got a lot to do here. So I just hope that you could follow along while I work. And now for technique number 82. Okay, so some people, when they go to sew something together like this, what they might do is they might start on one end like this and then kind of work their way around, right? And then they find out, oh, I'm off like a half inch or an inch. It's not centered. So that's why I put my little marks here. That way I know where center is. Everything is marked center. So what I do is match the two lines together, and then that's your center. That's where we start. We start from the center and we work our way out. Then we flip it over, start in the center, just like we did earlier. Work our way out. Just like that. Now we're centered. Okay, let's see if it's starting to look like something. Yeah. You know, it always looks ugliest before it looks its best. I'm getting there, making progress. Getting close now. All I have to do is put on the two ends, the front end and the back end. The last thing to sew up now are these little plastic tabs. So I need to remove these and transfer them over to these tabs here. So the thing that I have to be very careful of is to make sure that they go in the same direction. Because if I sew them on the wrong side, it'll be harder for me to put them in through the foam. So it's better just to duplicate what it was before. That way there's no trouble. So it's best just to do them one at a time. I wouldn't take them all off at once and then try to sew them on all at once. So I can see that this is going this direction. And it came from there. So what we are going to do with the new tab is we're going to take this and transfer it just like that. Sew this one together. Now we can just continue the process, do them all the same. Take this one from here, transfer to here. So some of you might be asking, well, why didn't you put this plastic piece back on there? Well, you know why? I think that might have been part of the problem in the beginning. Because you see how it tore right along that line there. So what if this hard plastic piece here was putting on some kind of stress on the vinyl, and maybe it's just a bad design. That's why I didn't put it back on. All right, so now let's see if we did a good job. Let's go ahead and install this thing. So the tabs going first. It's always a good idea to lay out a blanket so that way when you're flipping it over on its top, you're not going to scratch or tear or nick any of the vinyl on that tabletop. So let's go ahead and continue. So this is what you're going to want to use right here. You see that right there? It says stainless steel. Anything that you're using that's marine or anything that's going to be used outside, you don't want these staples to rust on you. Okay, I can pick these up at the big box store. They're about double the price of regular staples, but you know what? We want to keep happy customers, right? And now for the bonus tip of the day. Check this out. Those are our stainless staples, right? And we're stapling on black vinyl. So what do? We can paint them black. How do you like that? Put that in the comments. So now we're going to be using the combination of a heat gun and the staple gun. So where the heat gun comes in is we're getting warm up all this vinyl so that way we can get a nice stretch out of it. So another mention is when you're done using your heat gun, remember that the end here is really hot. You see that right there? It looks like it's burned. It almost looks like it burned vinyl. Like maybe I laid it on the table too close to some vinyl and it burned the vinyl. So anyway, shh, don't tell anybody. But anyway, when you're done using the heat gun, say I warmed it up like that, like you just saw me do. When you turn it off, put it way over there to the side. Put it way over there where it's not anywhere close to what you're working on. Because you don't want any tragedies. You don't want to burn your brand new seat cover. So I know you remember, I don't have to ask you, I told you about putting the extra material right here because that's where it always splits. Well, there's our evidence right there. Look at that wrinkle. That means that there's extra material there. Okay, so that's planned. And I hope that my customer appreciates that. But you know what we're going to do is we're going to make it look better. We're not going to give it to him like that. But I'm just left it there so that way you can see the extra material. That'll give him a couple extra years on this seat cover right here. Just when you thought that we were done. That's not it. If you act now, you also get... a matching back seat included. If you noticed something a little bit different about this, remember last time it was all black here. Well, the customer had requested a silver stripe. So that's what I did. I put a silver stripe for him. So anyway, like I was saying,